Hello all, welcome to JAB, and this is a video of the historic highlights section. We can also say that this is a Sunday story, as this section of videos will be available only on Sundays in this channel. Okay, let's go into today's video. In this video, let's see one of the most trending topic, or maybe we can say trending news. What happened in Lebanon? Well then, let's get into the topic with no further ado. Lebanon. This place is also called as Republic of Lebanon. It's a small country in Western Asia. While the country is not a big country, the history is. During the period of 1950 to 1960, this place was heavily developed. Before the civil war occurred in this place, it was one of the most peaceful, heavily developed places. However, once the civil war took place, this place was heavily affected. Even the GDP dropped down significantly and also the economy fell down. So let's get straight into how did the blast took place recently. While initially there was a small fire in the place, slowly the small fire became a huge fire, and then within few minutes there was a huge smoke cloud in the air, and then the entire place exploded. Eyewitnesses say that the sounds were heard up to 150 miles, which is very self-interpretable on how huge the impact of the blast was. As per the initial reports, around 10 people died and hundreds of them were injured. The main reason for the blast, as stated by the International Security Chief of Lebanon, the place at which the blast happened, the blast took place because of highly explosive materials being present at that particular place. As per Lebanon's Red Cross organization, around 300 to 400 people were shifted to hospital immediately. Lebanon has many problems in their country, currently like drinking water problems and also border related problems with Israel. Few people suspected that Israel might have done this blast. However, one of the senior officials of Israel has stated that, well, we can say confirmed that the blast is nowhere related to Israel. While the reason of the blast remains unclear, according to the Lebanese government, about 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate fertilizer was stored in a warehouse on the Beirut waterfront and caught fire, later exploded. The fertilizer arrived in the city more than 6 years ago aboard a Russian-owned cargo ship that made an unscheduled stop in the city. Lebanese port officials said they made several requests to the courts to have the stockpile removed but got no response. So we thought of knowing how this actually reacts with the environment and blasts up. In ordinary circumstances, ammonium nitrate is a fertilizer. But when placed under stress of heat and pressure, it acts like a bomb. Ammonium nitrate by itself is relatively harmless, but if added to a fuel source and subjected to intense stress like heat and pressure, it can definitely explode. Although we do not know exactly what happened yet in Beirut, the sheer size of the collected ammonium nitrate offers some clues. If subjected to fire in such bulk quantities and in a semi-contained environment like a warehouse, the potential for detonation is huge. How do fertilizers, which we often think of as just natural elements, are good for earth, explode so violently? Let's begin with a little background on fertilizer itself. Plants need a few basic nutrients to grow, and most of them are found in air and water, things like oxygen, carbon and hydrogen. Of course, they also need some other elements that may or may not be rich in the soil they grow in. If a plant just needs a little bit of nutrient, it's called a micronutrient. Think boron or chlorine. If a plant needs heaps of ingredient, it's called a macronutrient. Think nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium and sulfur. That's where fertilizer comes in. It packs the dirt with the secondary elements needed to make a plant flourish. Of course, many of us home gardeners simply would classify good old manure as fertilizer, and we would not be wrong. According to the International Fertilizer Industry Association, any natural or manufactured material that contains at least 5% nitrogen, potassium or phosphorus can be considered as a fertilizer. Of course, The fertilizing manufacturing industry produces synthetic, or as they prefer to call them, mineral fertilizers. To manufacture mineral fertilizers, there are few steps. First, you must collect the materials which are in fact found in nature. Then you have to treat them to bolster the concentration or refine the products. After that, you must convert them into a form that can be used by plants, and then you may want to combine those nutrients with the other. Let's get our hands dirty and determine what actually happens to make a fertilizer blow up. One of the main components in manufactured fertilizer is ammonium nitrate. Like we said, nitrogen is one of those macronutrients that plants love. So a lot of fertilizers are nitrogen based. Of course, we can't just bottle up some nitrogen and pour it on the old carrot patch. Atmospheric nitrogen has a really strong chemical bond that plants can't easily break. So fertilizer companies create a nitrogen based substance that's much easier for plants to take apart. Ammonium nitrate is one such compound, and it's used for good reason. The ammonium part sticks around longer without evaporating, so it's great for hot summer fields, and the nitrate is easily used by plants. Even more compelling in the agricultural industry, it's inexpensive to manufacture. You combine ammonia and nitric acid and that's it, you're done. But what makes ammonium nitrate capable of such lethal explosions? Surprisingly, not much. Truly, ammonium nitrate is a relatively stable compound according to the US Environmental Protection Agency. But ammonium nitrate has a potentially lethal downside. The compound is considered as an oxidizer. Meaning of it? Meaning is, at an atomic level, it reduces electrons from other substances in a chemical reaction. What that means in a more practical sense is that it increases the burning of fuels by increasing the oxygen that's available to those fuels. To start the reaction, ammonium nitrate must come into contact with an open flame or other ignition source. In the Beirut incident, experts suggest fireworks were involved. Once a reaction is sparked, the ammonium nitrate explodes violently. The explosive force occurs when solid ammonium nitrate decomposes very rapidly into two gases, nitrous oxide and water vapor. In other words, when it is just sitting quietly somewhere, ammonium nitrate isn't that big of a problem because it needs a relatively high activation energy to explode. However, if an accident where some sort of detonation, a spark or some kind of energy occurs, you better believe that ammonium nitrate is deadly. The compound essentially makes its own fuel and oxidizer, so its reaction is violent and long lasting. So it makes sense that a fire seems to be the cause and not the outcome of what happened in Lebanon. If indeed ammonium nitrate proves to be the culprit, it would most likely have gotten very hot to react the way it did. The explosion could very well have caused the seismic activity equal to almost 3.3 to 4.5 magnitude of earthquake, reported one source in the news. These are some details we came across what might have potentially caused this blast. Okay, let's hope people of Lebanon recover quickly and also Lebanon recovers from the economical crisis as well. We have started a trading channel. We have given the link in the description below. Please have a look at that as well. That's it in this video. We will see you in another video. If you're finding our content useful and informative, do like, share and subscribe. Bye bye.